Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree Buonomo. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. Today I am bringing you a final Preptober video, even though I technically only did one before this. And I'm going to be plotting my vampire novel. If you are new here, then you probably don't know that for the most part in my writing career, I have leaned heavily towards the pantser side of creating my books. Typically, I will grab onto fragments of ideas. I have kind of a general way that I can see the book playing out in my mind, but I've often discovery wrote where that book is going and kind of figured out all the minor details as I wrote it. So that included like character descriptions and character personality traits. Anything in the world, like I will have all these little snippets typically, and then I just never kind of plot it out fully. So I've never had like a working plot outline before ever. I have tried once in like the past, me and my co-writer, when we were working on our initial book that we were calling Project Gold, which has since then been trashed and revamped into 3 different novels now. But initially when we were working on Project Gold, we did try to outline a little bit to get an idea of how the plot should go, because spoiler alert, if you're not watching the Rework Chronicles, which has been on a small hiatus due to my school status, but if you haven't watched that, then you won't know that our initial book, Project Gold, had no plot, which has kind of come to this whole fruition that plotting might not be so evil after all. It's fun to discovery write and figure out things, but I think plotting might have some merits. So for NaNoWriMo 2021, I am going to give plotting a try. So this video is literally going to be a pantser tries plotting for the first time. I'm going to kind of dive into how I think I want my vampire novel to go based on the thoughts that have been in my head and have been circulating. I've pitched this plot idea to 2 different people and they actually thought like I have had it plotted already. So I do think I have most of it written in my head, but I think a key difference from previous years and to kind of keep me on track, having it actually written out will be much better and maybe will help me win NaNoWriMo, despite the fact that I'll be taking 3 graduate courses in the month of November and approaching my final exams. So we're gonna see how this goes. When I did my Preptober video where I announced my novel, I made my handy dandy notebook. Now I did all the lettering myself and I feel like my Project Vampire lettering came out pretty nicely. I wanted to get kind of more stickers and everything, but we're not really here to talk about what I did on my cover. We're here. This is why I don't have it, use it. Apparently it's yelling at me. I'm going to figure out how to put this back on. As you can see, page 1 is blank. I have not written anything in it yet. And it has this nice little pocket here so I can put little things as I like maybe write them down elsewhere. That'll be nice. So this notebook is incomplete currently, and this is what I am going to do. So even though I have a notebook and I do want to handwrite a lot of things, I am going to put my outline on the computer and print it out. So I will be using the 3-act, 9-block, 27-chapter structure. When I was kind of researching ways to outline and plot, I initially thought maybe I would try like a famous author's way of plotting and maybe make this into a kind of like a writing experiment video. However, I was really struggling finding anyone other than J.K. Rowling, and J.K. Rowling's just didn't look like it appealed to me, so here I am. I'm gonna do a pretty basic one, and it's pretty well known to my knowledge. I know I've had a few friends use this, and they've seemed to have pretty good success, so that's what I'm gonna use. I don't know off the top of my head because I found it the other day and I have to look it up, but I will leave a link below to the page that I found that kind of describes this structure, the 3-act, 9-block, 27-chapter structure. I know that they laid it out very nicely on their website, so I am going to kind of utilize that as my guide to outlining, but I don't know who made it at the top of my head. I don't know where it came from, and I don't know the website that I use, but I will be sure to link it all below so you guys can also go there and check it out if you're interested. The second thing that I'm going to say that I'm going to do, and probably moving into NaNoWriMo itself, is I am going to be using this notebook as my Bible in a way of like kind of jotting down ideas. So I think what I'm going to do with this after I actually make the outline is I'm going to jot down character information. So I have two main characters, which is my human female character and my male vampire. I'm going to write them out and kind of give them some details and backstories in my notebook. And I'm also going to flesh out the magical world / magic system. There's not really a magic system, but I have essentially 3 types of vampires in my world. And they're all classified by classical mythological creatures. So the creatures that you know and love, there's 3 different ones, including vampires, obviously, and they're all kind of like a vampiric, as in they feed off of humans in some way. But some of them are familiar and well-loved beings in literature and fantasy. So I have like a twist on how they all kind of relate. So I want to flesh that out more to make sure that I understand like how the differences are and the nuances and give them more of a kind of scary approach to things. So I'll be adding all of that in the notebook then after I do my outline. The last thing that I'll mention about this outline is from my friend Kelly Wright. I will leave her channel link down below. I know she is going to be making a return to YouTube. I don't know when, but hopefully you guys can go check her out when she comes back. She's been on a hiatus. But Kelly suggested to me to take a notebook with me during class, because I mean, I don't recommend this necessarily, but this is going to work for me. So sometimes I zone out in class, and part of that is because I know the information. And now I don't know all of it, so sometimes I am paying attention and participating, but a lot of the classes that I'm in are very basic knowledge for counseling that I already acquired through my experience in the counseling field. So I'm not going to go into that whole spiel again. If you are new here, then go check out my previous videos. I do talk about grad school quite often. But with that said, I think throughout NaNoWriMo, when I am in a class and I feel like I'm starting to zone, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to jot down some ideas in my notebook or jot down things that I think of while I'm there instead of kind of wasting that time. So take that however you want, because I know technically I should be paying attention in class, but I'm in a conundrum where I kind of know what I'm doing. It's a weird situation. So if I have to sit there for 3 hours and suffer, I might as well add to my writing while I'm doing so. Anyway, that was a very long preamble. I'm sorry for kind of ranting, but I'm very excited. I just really wanted to help you guys understand exactly how I'm going about this outlining process, especially because it's new to me and I haven't outlined before. So I don't know how it's going to go. In my head, I feel like this should take a pretty quick amount of time, but we'll see. So it's about 4:30 at night right now, and I'm about to order dinner, I think, at 5:30. We are doing a pizza night, me and my husband. So I have about an hour to really get this going, and then we'll see how far I get, and then if I need to come back later and finish the outline. We'll see. So wish me well as I do this endeavor. Alright, just an update, friends. This is the website Be Your Own Mentor, where it kind of breaks down all of the lovely acts. It has this nice little grid, but then also has all of the acts. And I really like this website because it kind of says like how, like what each one should be. And sometimes like these are going to correlate into like all 3 chapters. I like this outline format. So that is what I'm using to kind of direct my own outline by pretty much copying and like how it's like stated and fleshing it out. I have gotten up to 10 chapters. I also know the ending, so I wrote like 2 of those chapters. I am struggling a bit in the middle. I know like this plot twist and darkest moment, I know what this is going to be, but in my head I keep telling myself I should really like finish up these chapters first before we get here, so that I kind of know the flow to get there, to make sure I have the right chapters. But
it's going very well, I think. I mean, I have essentially like 11, 12 chapters outlined, so we're almost halfway done, and it's about 5:10 right now, so I will check back in shortly.
Hi friends, it is 5:44. I have been working on my outline for a little over an hour, and I'm definitely making some headway. I have skipped around a little bit, like sometimes I'll go like 2 or 3 chapters ahead, but I am into Act 3's outline now. So I think that's a positive. I just have one chapter, which is chapter 17 in the block 6 that I didn't complete for Act 2. I'm trying to make sure that I don't like repeat myself, and I don't want to like get the story bogged down, because this really is a character-driven story. It's between two people who are essentially in an unhealthy relationship, and how the main character is struggling to grasp that and trying to understand like if she's being manipulated, and like based on her past and her history, like there's a lot at play. So this is a very character-driven story, and because of that, the character's information is very important, but I also don't want to get too repetitive. Like I want you guys, well, the readers, I want the readers to understand like exactly like who these characters are and why they're doing the things they're doing, and also making it compelling and interesting in the lens of a vampire story. So I am in Act 3. I have, like I said, other than chapter 17, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 chapters left to plot, actually, though, because I did hop around a little bit, and I have 4 chapters of Act 3 plotted. So I only have 6 left total to do, and I feel like I feel pretty good about what I have outlined. I really think the story can have some strong moments of my main character, like falling into an abusive relationship, but also then like in moments of clarity we're wondering like, you know, should she be doing this, or you know, like how can she escape it almost. So there's definitely, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but like this novel is not going to be for everyone. It is going to have a lot of trigger warnings in it, so I'm just really looking at it as a character study of like these two characters who are not good for each other, and I'm really loving it. I love the outline, but I know that like it's going to have a sensitive readership for sure. So yeah. All right. I just ordered my pizza about 20 minutes ago, so I will have to go pick it up, and we will come back to finish plotting after I have a dinner break. All right, my friends, there you have it. An entire outline. Holy cow. 3 acts, using that structure. It's great. Hi guys, so it is 7:45, and with about an hour and a half break for dinner and to watch an episode of TV with my husband, I feel like this outline went pretty smoothly. Here's some of the information that I had to grapple with and some of the roadblocks I found while I was doing this outline. So as always, when you're plotting in your head, especially if you think about like how many things need to go into a novel, my beginning and my end were pretty fleshed out already. As always, the middle was kind of the hardest chunks, and I knew that like certain things needed to go in the middle. Like I wanted my vampire's backstory, how he was turned into a vampire. I also wanted the myths, like the mythological creatures. So I have fae, vampire, and succubi in my novel, and they're all interconnected in some way, but they feed off humans in a different way. So because of that, I also obviously needed to have that thrown in there at some point, but I didn't know which chapter that should go in, like all that information in the backstory. I also, because this is a character-driven novel, needed to make sure that I was adding to the characters throughout and kind of having my main character grappling with, you know, not wanting to be a victim, but also like struggling with the attention and knowing that she's dying and all of this kind of stuff. So there was a lot that I had to think about as I was plotting down the middle, especially. And like I said, some things I already knew I wanted to have, but this definitely made me think about like, how would the plot further by this, and like what should they be doing. And in reality, this novel is like going to be a pretty quickly paced novel in some ways too, because it's only going to be like a short time span. So I definitely needed to make sure that,
you know, like the timeline would make sense too, because in the beginning of my novel, my main character is bitten by a vampire and she only has so long to live. So it's going to be pretty fast paced as far as that goes. So some of my chapters that are within one night, that's kind of fine because that kind of needs to happen in order to build the tension, and also kind of plays on the whole like insta love trope and turns that a little bit on its head. So yeah, I mean, overall, I definitely think this novel was easier to outline because I've been marinating on my vampire ideas for a while, but I definitely still struggled. And I started, because I was struggling, there was a part of me that was like, I don't need to outline this part. I'll just wing it when I get there. And I'm like, nope, that's not the point of this. The point of this was to get it down on paper. And again, the little headings that I showed you guys, how like the Be Your Own Mentor website, because it like kind of gave like little snippets, like, you know, Act 1, Block 1 is introductions and inciting incident, like going off those little snippets on what should be in those chapters really helped in the times that I got stuck in it. So with that said, plotting a book was a little bit challenging, but not nearly as challenging as I thought it was going to be. And also I feel pretty good that like, even though I'm in school, like looking through like what I have, I think I can easily bang out a quick like first draft, because one, most of it is set within our world or like has similar rules to our world. So I'm not really building a high fantasy. And the magic system is pretty contained. There's not really a magic system, whereas there's a magical creature, and those creatures have certain abilities. Obviously, like vampires suck blood and have like a longer life. The fae and the succubi also take things from humans to extend their lives. So it's not really that they have magic, but that they are magical beings. So like that made it a lot easier to plot, because making a magic system is a lot of effort and work. So yeah, I know, either way, without rambling on and on, I'm definitely happy for how this outline went. I think it's very promising. And of course, like as I'm drafting, I'm obviously going to be expanding on these ideas. So I think it is all going to come together very nicely. And I'm kind of hopeful that there's a chance that I could be finishing 2 nano novels this season, depending on how much I'm actually going to be able to write in the middle of classes and stuff, but it's looking pretty good. So yeah. Anyway guys, thank you so much for sticking around with me. Let me know what you think, like how this would go for you if you're also a pantser, or is this 3-act 9-block structure something you do use as a plotter? Let me know down below. If you are a plotter but you don't use this structure, also let me know what you might use, and maybe that's something I've considered to use, you know, down the road in a different plotting video, potentially. Otherwise, guys, in my next couple videos, I will be kind of wrapping up my month of October and starting NaNoWriMo. So definitely stick around for those videos. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.